Okay, we're on.
All right, let's do this.
All right. Those of you on Facebook, glad you can make it. Hi, how you doing? This is the Nissan Nerd Podcast. My name is Mike DeLashmutt. This guy to the right of me, Miles Hall, buddy.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Nissan Nerd Podcast. We got a lot to cover today. We are going over a lot of subject matter. My cameraman is drunk already, so mind the autofocus. My apologies, but we're going to kick it off here a little bit today. Let's see if I can fix that.
Hey, Miles.
And, yes, sir.
You want to see something cool?
What do you got for me?
All right, check us out. This is let's try this. Ready?
Yeah, hit me.
Stay tuned here. Ready? All right.
we got to keep the club music.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, man. I was able to scrape a few pennies out of the budget and make that happen this time around. Oh, great time!
Pop lock.
Yeah.
Oh no. So anyway, that's cool, man. I'm glad we got to keep that. Nice little video, man. You put that together?
Yeah. Just spent some time here and there last weekend.
Our marketing team put that together.
Yeah, pretty much. I got as little help as possible on purpose because it's meant to be probably a little grassroots for now. But
we are grassroots.
I think we're doing all right. We're on our way. So I was pretty excited about it, though. I think working on it, I hadn't really done much video editing before, so getting to really learn just a certain particular software and make like a 10, 15 second video. So hey, it's kind of cool.
Well, it's cool, man. We have a lot to cover today. Some news kind of came out. A lot of subject matter that you and I have been kind of bouncing around about over recently. But yeah, man, great job on the video. We'll see if we can put it out there on the interwebs, see if people dig it or not. So we'll go from there. So feedback is always appreciated. So we'll go from there. But
all right. For everybody, this is the Miles Hall birthday stream as well. I'm going to put you on the spot, man. I'm going to put you on the spot. So you recently, 2 days ago, had your birthday?
Yeah, January 25th. Yes, it is.
25th.
Yeah.
All right, man. So
normally I'm like not a big celebrator of my birthday. I kind of just whatever. But I make it a big deal for other people's birthdays because I don't know. I like people to feel special. And I'm not really, I don't care. But so if you're a friend of mine on Facebook, you know that I'm probably going to put inappropriate pictures on your Facebook page of happy birthday memes and whatnot. Yeah. But I'm usually never. Some people wish me happy birthday, but that's about it. But this year blew me away. Like, I don't know what it is about this year, but I checked my messages and I had something like 300 or 400 birthday wishes. That was crazy. I was like, good. So, I'm going to be humble here, as I am always humble. And I just want to tell everybody thank you very much for all your birthday wishes. I appreciate it. It meant a lot. It meant a lot to me. But for real, everybody, I really appreciate it. And thank you again for all the wishes. And let's move on. Well, let's move on to what we like to do.
All right, all good, man. Oh, there you go, man. You want to start the drinking?
Well, I mean, why not?
It seems to be a new custom since we've just getting started into this whole video endeavor portion of the show. We can share literally what we have, right?
We can share now that we own our own processes. Let's do this.
I'll let you go first. What do you have?
I have. What am I parting with? I don't know. Something new. A little weird thing. It's called Advent Party Crasher. It's from Clown Shoes. So for those haven't partied with it, it's a American Imperial Stout, if there is such a thing. But I don't know. It was very. What was that guy's name from Death Wish? Charles Bronson?
Bronson.
I don't know. Just it has like some crazy action going down on it. So yeah, we're gonna crack that open. I wonder if it's light or if it's dark. which basically means if it's a
Don't
man's
know.
beer,
It's like a it's a mystery box in a beer. Was there any description of what it should taste like?
no, just manness
No,
is what it said on
just
the side.
manliness.
It said it tastes like, I think there's a hair in the bottom of every can. It's the chest hair. Oh man, that is rowdy. Oh, that's like WD-40 right there. That's like 10W30 right there. Ooh, man,
Woo!
that is a
All right, before you
stout.
do, let me share
Okay,
what
so
I have.
what are you rocking with?
So
With
I will say, man, I think as with many things, man, you always lead to my
alcoholism?
my demise, and yeah, and
Wow,
that being
go
alcoholism.
on, go
Yeah, yeah.
on.
So I figure, I got to come with something. So I gotta,
What do you
I
got?
can't just be the
What are you
same
rocking?
thing. So I did just another just favorite of mine, and I think I'm getting some ideas to do something little better. Here we go. But just a local vodka.
Local.
Just got some
Oh,
Tito's.
some Tito's.
Tito's.
Oh,
Got some vodka and Sprite. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour this right now here.
cutting down on the
Woo.
calories. Look at you,
I'm not even considering calories. I'm just
watching
considering
watching my apple bottom.
watching my figure.
Well, you're a
Yeah,
celebrity now, right? Yeah.
not even. But yeah, that's I
All right.
I just like it
So
because it's smooth. So
smooth.
smooth.
All right. Best scene
Okay.
ever is the three amigos when they're
Yeah.
walking.
Oh,
He's like,
yes, 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 yes.
beers. He goes, is it anything like beer? All we have is tequila. And I'm like, if it's anything like beers, we'll take them. And they slam them
It's
down.
like beer. Yeah.
It's like kind of smooth. Just a great, one of my favorite movies. Anyway, Kampai.
Let's do it. Kanpai. Woo.
Mm. Mm. All right, so let's get to parting. Ooh,
Woo.
that's a man's beer. Hold on, I got that chest hair. All right, so
We have
you,
news.
yeah,
Yes.
we found news. You found a pretty good article on Jalopnik. They popped out something about, I guess, gauges, right? And normally we don't get into the tedious detail stuff, but from time to
Mhm.
time we nerd out. That's what we do. That's what we're all about. But you had a
Yeah.
really good article that you found up.
Yeah.
Go on.
I sure did. All right. So I shared this link with you just earlier, and I just kind of said, "Yeah, let's just check it out." And I think your response was, "This fits right down our alley when we meet Nissan Nerd, right? We get into the specifics of the most obscure things that Nissan had ever done." So this is one of them, right? Like you said, it's off of Jalopnik. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Share screen here.
Hit me.
You should be able to see this. Is that it?
Oh, yeah, that's it.
All right, cool.
So give me the beef.
From Jalopnik, they have a gauge. We need to talk about the Nissan and how they made the best fuel gauge ever.
What a hardcore
like,
claim.
isn't
All
it
right,
right?
go ahead.
It's so
We made the best differential covers that money could buy. Like,
the best window switches, something like
all right,
that, right?
okay,
Yeah,
go on.
all
What
right.
do you got?
Okay, so what they're referring to is on the 280ZX and 300ZX Z31. So in the era that you want to call it, let's just say every Z made in the 80s. Let's just call it that, like a 79 to 89 to be exact. What they're referring to with this gauge is it's a very ultra fine reading on this gauge. I believe there is a close up, and I will zoom in on that. It's kind of crazy to think about, though, too, which is really funny, though. The 300ZX had two types of dashes with the 300ZX, at least, which was you had a digital dash and you had an analog dash. And
We're
I
talking
think it really,
Z31, by the way, for those that don't know.
yes,
So
that's right. Z31, 300ZX. You had two types of dashes, digital and you had analog. For me personally, I really dug the digital dash. Yeah. It was like the turbo models, like the upper crest of all the trim models got you the digital dash.
I would agree. It just looked cool, and it would look period. It just at the time, I'm sure it was like it was groundbreaking at the time, and it really was cool. But now it's gone backwards, and it's very lasting. It's period correct. Almost
it is very
period
correct. They call the 80s, even 90s, the RAD era, and I really consider digital dash, sort of like the epitome of rad. Any digital dash in a car from the 80s and 90s, it really just sums up what
Kind of had
automotive.
that style, that 280ZX carry over to Z31 style.
Yep.
They had some of that digital. The MR2, I don't know. To me, the MR2 just screams like the first gen,
Yeah.
screams like super 80s, and like the old Supra, the Starion, I guess carryover Supra Celica, like it just kind of had that style, very hard cut edges.
Yep.
I don't know, a lot of members only jackets is what I remember from those times. Parachute pants. Everybody's a parachuter back in the 80s,
Everybody
if you didn't
parachute
know.
pants, mullets.
Mullets were pretty hardcore. Yeah.
So hey, yeah. So getting into this article though,
Hmm.
this feature, what you see here, we're talking actually about the analog gauge, which is really weird. It seemed to be of the two
Really?
options that you could have gotten. It's the
Okay.
analog gauge that had this feature that they're talking about
Looks
on the
fighter
John Alfred
jetish.
side. It is. So you had two gauges, as you can see in the picture there. You had your primary gauge and you had a secondary gauge, and it had to deal with the precision of how much fuel you had left in your Z car. The top gauge, as you can see there, went to about quarter tank. Once you hit quarter tank, that second
You
sending
had a
unit would
secondary. You have a
yeah,
secondary
they
gauge.
would just tell you, yeah, just
So
with
was that
such
into the? Was that the
precision.
last quarter of the gas tank? It would drop that in there. That would be that bottom gauge for that.
Yes, that would be the bottom gauge because they would go down from
Oh,
quarter
okay,
to
cool.
eighth, 16th, and finally when you're out. I know the 80s were a big time. Well, the 70s more so, but the 80s it was still a concern with fuel efficiency.
Uh-huh.
Maybe this was a way for Nissan to make customers feel as though they're being efficient with their gas or getting every last drop until the next fill up.
Well, you got to remember at that time, the 80s experienced a pretty crazy gas crisis. So, for them to speak to it in some form or fashion, that makes sense,
Hmm.
at that time period. Because, I mean, everybody was chasing fuel economy. Nissan was probably like, look, we're not going to chase fuel economy. But I'll tell you what we will do, we'll let you know how bad it's going to get as quick as they can. So I mean that's and that's it kind of speaks to them trying to make performance cars in an era where people are screaming for fuel
Yeah,
efficiency, but that also came at such a from what I remember, I can't remember how long that fuel crisis lasted, but it was the better part of a year, so I could see them
yeah.
kind of talking about that.
Oh yeah.
Any
So
advantage that came with that?
the advantage I can think of is just making the customer think uh, they're being efficient. I mean, or not efficient. A a wise consumer of their time and money with fuel, I guess.
Well, for a
It,
salesman trying to
but
pitch it at the door, it makes sense.
yeah, it was a pitch at the door too. And in this article they'll compare the Z car with the most luxurious other models of vehicles, other makes of vehicles at the time. I believe they were even comparing it to like a Rolls Royce. They didn't. A Rolls Royce didn't have such precision in a gas gauge as the 280ZX and the 300ZX of the 80s. So it really was a niche feature about these cars, and some
What do they
cases
used to
not. Huh?
what did they used to call it for the longest time? The idiot gauges. They would give you a general idea of cool, a general idea of oil pressure, a general idea of
Oh yeah.
gas.
Well,
Voltmeters. To me, voltmeters went away back in the. I don't know. I don't think I've seen voltmeters in a car since God the
mm,
80s. And maybe there was an issue with battery quality back in the days in the 70s and the 80s. But I mean, and anybody can comment in right now that they want to. But yeah, I don't remember there. But I started seeing volts kind of falling away a long time ago.
yeah.
I didn't see them
Uh,
again till the performance era, like
yeah.
in the late 90s and the 2000s.
Yeah, I kind of want to expand on this whole idea with this feature that Nissan had, and it really had to do with the era that it was. Okay, so this is the '80s. I really think looking back, at least from my the feeling I get from it. I mean, granted, I was in the '80s, but I wasn't online, if you will. But it was like the age of excessiveness. You think of I think of like Wall Street, and this digital electronics were the thing. If you had a cell phone, that brick cell phone, you were the man. And it's very similar. I think what they're doing here with these gauges. I think that there were a lot of other features that the Z car had that can also kind of lay claim to being very niche and very unique. I think Ion mentioned it too here, which is on those cars, you also had a little voice that would speak to you if you left your doors open for too long, or if you had your headlights on and they thought you were making a mistake and the headlights were on for too long, or if you had low fuel levels, you would have what's called a bitch and
Yeah,
bitch Betty, bitch,
I thought it
yeah,
was Bitch and Betty, but I
I think
guess
it's
it's
bitch
Bitch
and
and Betsy.
Betty.
Maybe he's right. I don't know.
Either way, but again, I can't think of any other Z car that had that feature for the same reasons. It was a just something that really made the car seem luxurious, you know.
I remember the Nissan Stanza. I don't know why it stands out to me, but the
Mhm.
Nissan Stanza, if you can remember that. I'm not saying I love every Nissan, but that was kind of a rough ride back in the days. But I had, I think I was dating a girl at a time that had one of those, and I remember it would do the door is ajar, and
Mhm.
and and it's kind of a funny story, but she didn't. She thought it was a car that was made in Mexico because she thought ajar meant open in Spanish. And I was like, no, the door is ajar. That's English. It's but anyway, but it was pretty funny. But nonetheless, but I did like the features, and I remember this was a while back, like
Mhm.
Hybrid and some other websites. And I'm gonna say it's like Nico, they used to have like how to's take those units and
Yeah.
splice them into your updated vehicles just for the nostalgic feel of it, especially the bitchin'
Yeah.
Betsy or Betty, whatever you want to
Yeah.
call it. But I know guys used to do that for a while.
I've got some buddies who are actually like really hardcore. This is call them they're nerds. They would get the bitch and Betty, but they would buy it from overseas. So you had the
The
Japanese
Japanese
version,
version. Oh yeah, that you
Japanese
would have
Betty.
to. That's
Yeah, I
awesome.
mean, if you really want to get down to like just some really JDM, you know, loving your Z31, that would definitely
That's
be it.
super nerdy, but super cool. I
Oh
could
yeah.
appreciate that.
So you had the bitch and Betty. You actually had a, you know, I should say this too. You know, the 280ZX and the 300ZX. This was when they added the X denotation. And for those who don't know, the X is supposed to represent luxury, like the X in luxury. So you really saw the Z in this time get more and more plush, less of a sports car, more of a cruiser or a touring car. Plusher seats, the sound deadening. You had way better sound insulation. Uh, the I know the Z31 had it, which would had the adjustable suspension. You know, this car is what 35 years old, and you have adjustable suspension, hard, medium, firm.
To me, that
Like
was
these
one of
are,
the coolest thing about the Z31s is it started to see the adjustable suspension in the center console right there. I
yep,
thought it was really cool, and I to this day, I still think the Z31 is an underrated vehicle to this day because you can put a little bit of power in those things, cut out because they are pigs. The Z32 is a pig, Z31's a pig as well. But if
yes,
you can cut a few pounds out of that, and it doesn't take much,
mhm,
and you put in the rear ends on those things, and you do them
yep,
upright, and you get a little power, especially on the turbo models, those things fly. And I
yes,
and the design is just you either gotta love it or you gotta just figure out what you want to do with it. And I've said this before: the Z31 and the 280ZX are going to be the last models in the Z line to really just get that appreciation. And then all of a sudden, it's going to be like these things are worth money now, and they're starting. It's starting to happen now. It is starting to
yeah.
happen now. But
It's I've noticed that too, you know, even with most recent Nissan promotions, they'll show in the commercial the generations of Z except for the 80s, which is so crazy, you know, just not to say that they're hiding it. I'm pretty sure, you know, when it comes to a promotion, you're supposed to keep attention in certain areas
yeah,
of the
the 80s are
commercial.
coming back, man.
Man,
I mean, if
hmm
Cobra Kai is a indication of putting your toe in the water, I know I base so much off of that because I'm a nerd for that as well. But if
yeah,
that was ever an indication, the 80s are coming back. The 80s cars are starting to get a really strong value. I did want to point out, George said a mention on here, George Music. He said that he goes, yeah, he goes on the batteries. He goes, yeah, they didn't last long before the 80s because my dad owned a gas station, and and then when lifetime battery warranties first
hmm
came out, we didn't believe it,
yeah,
which makes sense. It was probably, the materials that were going into those cells and the cores. I mean, for Christ's sakes, I mean, what was it? The red tops and the yellow top Optima batteries were
Yeah.
amazing up until a few years ago when they started using crappier core materials for them, wrapping them in fiberglass. That was the whole point of that. And then they just started using crappier materials in them. So what, nobody's buying the Optimum batteries like we used to. They weren't what they used to be. So yeah, pretty cool
Right.
stuff.
Well, I definitely wanted to give props to DeLashmutt for highlighting this such a unique feature, and the fact that it was on a Nissan car is like, well, I had to share it. This was only one of many unique features that Nissan had placed on the 280ZX and 300ZX C31. So, like I said, that time, that era, it was definitely a time to have excessiveness and this luxury to your cars. Nissan definitely followed that trend with the Z car within that decade, and then eventually kind of got back a little bit more on the sportier side. And I mean, I think it's just a lot of fun though that they were actually able to mention that too. So
I
that's my
think,
article.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
think for the time the era that these things came out in, I think you got a lot for your money. And I think the Z31 very much was um, a vehicle that was worth the value of what you were getting with. I mean, they were kind of they held their
Mhm.
value for a really long time. Well, for a really long time until they became, secondhand vehicles, and
Yeah.
then they were kind of snarked at for a while, but they're coming back. So for all those Z31 guys, all our Z31 brothers out there, hold on to your rides. They're coming around, especially those anniversary and Shiro editions. People are starting to love
Shiro
them
edition
now,
would be good.
especially the
Yep.
Shiro editions.
Have
So
faith, my friends. Have faith
faith.
in the 300ZX, the Z31s. This.
Yeah. Speaking of value, I did want to kind of talk about some other things. We're going to talk about
Yeah.
special edition models that have kind of come out here over the last few years. Now,
Hmm.
if you can see that,
What do you got?
let me see here. Booyakasha. All right.
You need to add. You gotta add your screen. Add your screen.
Why do I not know?
Technical difficulties, folks. We're good. It gives me a chance to have a drink.
Well, this stout is kicking in. That's what it is. So,
Mm.
oh, there we go. All right. All right. So what we're talking about is, these special editions that Nissan has made through the years, and really this is for any model that has kind of come out. Occasionally some hype will come out or something that a manufacturer will kind of just grasp to, and they think it's going to up their sales or it's going to get some PR there. So Nissan did this a few years ago. This is nothing new. This is kind of an old article, and if anything, it's just been repopularized by a good article that came out on Hot Cars, and it was talking about special editions that Nissan's done. Now, for those that didn't know, when the Rogue One movie was coming out, Nissan kind of
Hmm.
jumped all over it. They made a few special models of this thing. Now, when I first saw this years ago, me and Mike talked about this back in the day when we saw this thing, and I was always under the impression that you were going to get something a little more for your money than just, let's call it, rebadging, right? Because
Yeah.
it's happened in the past. Like you've had all types of custom models that have come out through the years, but then sometimes, the ones that carry weight, like, the Shelby, the Roushes, in the Ford world, you got something for your money. The Yenkos, you got something for your money. In the Nissan world, even like that with the Nismo stuff, the early Nismo stuff, you didn't get a whole lot for your money. So the Star Wars thing is kind of something I want to talk about. And you could take this you could take it in one of two manners. You can either talk about it like, was it worth the money, or were you just buying something that was extremely specific,
Hmm.
extremely like niche. And I think that's what you're kind of getting for this. Now let's talk about some of these options that you're getting with the Nissan Rogue. And you can't buy these anymore. They came out when the model came out, when the
Hmm.
movie came out, and they're pretty much gone and out there. And a bulk of them didn't even make their way to the US. But ultimately you were getting is an aesthetic model. You're getting and I'm gonna ask you, Mike, what do you think you get if you're buying a Star Wars version, Star Wars Rogue One Nissan Rogue?
Uh,
Without looking, what do you think you're getting?
if I had to,
Time era. What do you think you're getting?
There you go. So if I'm thinking Star Wars Edition vehicle, if I wanted to see something that would make it special to me and really make it worth wanting to buy,
Mhm.
I would say, is there some sort of special cloth or a graphic on a cloth? Um, like on the interior. That's one thing. Performance would be great. I mean, when you mention it on being like on a Rogue, I'm not really thinking performance, so I'm not too sure how much performance you're going to get out of it. Uh, Maybe something a little bit stiffer though. In general, typically, I would say most of the special editions that you see on cars, I mean, in the industry as a whole, I would think have some sort of um, it's supposed to be sportier as opposed to more luxurious, maybe.
The long
Uh,
answer, the short answer to your long,
yeah.
your
Okay.
long statement is you're wrong. So
Okay.
guess what? I'm going to tell you what you get. You
Okay.
get, and I'm not trying to be a downer on Nissan, but I'm just saying these are the type of things that we need to learn from. If we're going to commit to a special model, let's make a special model. You know what I mean? Let's make
Hmm.
something cool. So what did we get? We got floor mats. All right. I hope you like those floor mats. All right. Now, it came with a lowering skirt, which is fancy for probably a trim panel piece. And I'm not going to nerd out on it, but I'm pretty sure it was probably something you buy and they just added it on there. Black roof rails, a lot of black was added on this. You got
A
a
lot of
grill.
black.
Yeah. And then on the D pillar, you got a badge. And I'm like, okay, I'm thinking badge. Now, here's the cup holders. These are inserts.
Okay.
All right, kind of cool. The sill panels. Okay, all right. I get a lighted up Star Wars thing. Kind of
Okay.
cool. Kind of cool. And let's talk about what else. Now here is kind of the only outside application that you get that kind of discerns you from the other Nissan Rogue in the parking lot. I guess you
Okay.
get your sticker here, and then you got the badge on the door and the fender area. I don't know, man. And then,
Interesting.
of course, you got a helmet that can't be anywhere in the car, but you got that as a take home, which I
You
thought was
can't
pretty cool.
you can't wear the helmet while you drive.
Yeah, but coincidentally, you can pick these up on eBay for about 150 bucks.
Okay. So you got about in total about $160 worth of accessories for about an extra 5 grand, maybe.
Yeah, basically. So the big question is it all hype with no hyperdrive, or is it just you know what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah.
now, the what I did like about this article, it talked about, Nissan's done this in the past where it's made these special models, and then unfortunately they just, they either lived up to the hype or they didn't. Now, that to me, the Star Wars model was very cool. I love the fact that we were involved with it, but at the same time, I felt like we could have better put a better foot forward in regards to that. Like we could have made something a little more cooler.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't Nissan's first rodeo, as this article kind of talks about. And this came out because it didn't come out on our market,
Yeah.
but they actually made a diehard edition Frontier or Navara out in another part of the world. And then
Okay.
there was even a Nismo Juke, the Dark Knight version.
Oh. Wow.
Now, two different worlds here. For the Juke, you're probably not going to get too much. Let's call it what it is. It's going to be a lot of aesthetics like the Star Wars. But with the
Okay.
Navara model, you got aesthetics, but you
Mm-hmm.
did get some pretty cool stuff. Now, I wanted to talk about that model specifically. Now,
Okay.
with the Navara, because it was hard to find a little bit of information on it because there were so limited editions. But
Mm-hmm.
apparently, they put it out in 2008 and it came with a lot of interior options like CD changers, logoed floor mats. Who would have known?
Right.
Chrome door mirrors, integrated indicators, which is what the other ones had. Um, Alloy wheels, which were in the 17 model. But the big thing was with the headache rack in the back, which was kind of cool in its own right. But let me see
Mm-hmm.
if I can give you. Sorry, this thing is just buffer crazy. But I wanted to talk about what it did have. Let me see here. Oh God. Of course, there's 5 million articles on this topspeed.com, so it just makes it right. But they did make a special model colors. Like on this one, you
Okay.
had what they called the flame proof red, the eye of the storm gray, and a walk on the dark side metallic black. So it and
Wow.
yeah, so it was just kind of a limited edition thing, and I just thought it was something cool that if you're going to go into it, at least do some specialized colors, do some specialized exterior graphics that set it apart. And
Hmm.
just but if you go back and you look at what they did on the Die Hard version and what they did on this Dark Knight Rises, I mean, let's look at this. I mean, you blacked it out.
Right, 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 right. Uh, Ion
Mm,
says too, it being confused by a black edition. Nissan also had the black edition of vehicles, and I believe the Rogue was one of them, or even the
yeah,
Juke. I think even had them.
he's right.
So
I
there is
remember
some
that.
confusion there.
And
Yeah.
I remember the models got confused. So it's like, come on, guys, marketing. Let's put it together. Let's get it going.
Yeah. I
But
can see what I can see. Maybe their intent was. I mean,
well,
was it a cat? I mean, here's the thing: the Rogue is probably, I think, was at one point, or maybe still is, the most best-selling vehicle of the year, no matter
called
what
a
make and model.
flagship car in the business. Yeah,
Flagship,
you're
right?
right.
Lots and lots of units. Star Wars is one of the biggest movie franchises to
Never heard of
be
it.
around.
Never heard of it.
And you know what I mean? And it's like, so they're trying to combine the two. I think it's kind of cool, especially, if you really like, don't mess with Star Wars fans. They will get in your face if you start, you know what I mean? Like, they love what they do, what that's a passion that we have, right? I'm a Star
Yeah.
Wars fan myself. So if you try to marry your daily driver with Star Wars, like, I can see where they came up with the idea.
I could see them going after the 20 or 30 somethings trying to capture that market and just being like, it's a Star Wars edition, bro. You don't have one. But I'm going to tell you like this, marketing team. Look,
Yeah.
all right. I'm going to ask you to do one thing. The next time we jump on a bandwagon, let's at least make something specific and very cool that's going to be different and something that we can't buy out of the box, that can't be replicated with a sticker. Badges are a cool idea, but let's make something different. Let's do an intake cover that is specific to that model, to that
Okay.
whatever we're going to do. Let's make a one-off set of wheels. It's not that hard to do. Let's make it
Yeah.
happen. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Let's get the plaque on the dashes.
The
Everybody
plaque.
loves those. They never
Yeah.
go bad.
Yep.
Car seats, specialized material. Yes, make it. Do it.
Yeah.
I get the floor mats. I get it. I get you
Yeah.
have to do the floor mats. I'll let you do the floor mats. You give me the car seats. All right.
Yeah.
You can have the floor
It,
mats. I got the car seats. Floor mats, car seats. I got to have something. All right.
yeah.
So no
I,
more of this just like lick and stick, make the job happen. I know we spent millions of dollars to be linked and to be linked with Star Wars, and I get it.
yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I'm sure it worked out, but was it worth it? Did we pay homage? Did we make the Star Wars people happy? Did we make our Nissan people happy? Did we
L-
make our
l-
Nissan nerds happy? So make sure that you're paying homage to both those. I'm nerding out. The
And
stout's getting in my
it's true.
blood. A little angry.
I see it. No,
Another chest hair. There was two chest hairs in here. Go ahead.
it's a matter of making a special edition while still respecting the vehicle. You can actually, if you do it the wrong way, you can take a vehicle that has such high regard within a community and really dull it down to where it's not a special edition, but the purists like ourselves would look down on it. We go, oh
Yeah.
yeah, that was a cash grab or something like that.
Yeah.
And
I mean, and so yeah. I don't want to talk anymore. Not it.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's
Nissan did make a Star Wars Edition 350Z.
you're
Did you ever
lying.
see it?
You're a liar.
No. Let me share this. Hold on.
Ah! Good
That
lord.
that's talk about the features, man. Look what you get for the money, man. It's
Yeah.
sorry, I've
You
been
want to talk
floating for
about
a while.
you want to talk about a custom gas gauge? But I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna leave it alone. All right, we got other things to kind of talk about.
We
So
do, we do. Okay, so
we got a lot of news. We're gonna do a new news process here. We're gonna call it 60-second news. Right? Your news in 60 seconds. So unless it's cool. If it's cool, we'll give it another 60 seconds. But if it's not, time. All right.
yes, we do. Let me
So
go ahead
let's
and
see
get
what
this
you
set
got.
up here. All right. News in 60 seconds.
News in 60 seconds. All right, go.
That'll be the next video.
All right,
Yeah.
and go. 60 seconds. Go.
60 seconds. Okay, go. All right. Uh, Nissan from the website 2021 Rogue sets pace for Nissan's recycling efforts. Obviously, recycling is very, very important. No need to say that there. They have what's essentially what they consider closed loop recycling system for aluminum parts. The hoods, for example, doors of the Rogue are stamped with aluminum, helps reduce weight, improve fuel efficiency, and they're able to recycle these materials. I believe there was nearly 75% of the aluminum made is still in use. So this was actually a big environmental push from Nissan.
20
Props
seconds.
to them for that. Boom, done. Next
That's
one.
it. You still got 20. We got to talk about it for 10 more seconds. Let's go.
20 more seconds.
Go.
All right, we got here. Okay,
10.
so the aim to reduce 30% of raw materials used in cars in 22 with materials that don't rely on newly
3,
mined
2,
resources.
1.
Nissan's green program. We'll put the link
60
in the
seconds.
comments if you want to know
my
more.
time. You're done. You're out. You're finished.
Boom, your turn.
All
Go
right.
for it.
60 seconds. All right. Nissan nerd. Oh my God. Hold on. Oh, I'm getting into my own time. I'm getting into my own time. So Nissan's actually, all right. Nissan's actually making batteries now solely in the UK. So we were getting those 62 gigawatt versions that were in the Nissan Leaf or were produced in the United States and imported into the UK. Then the UK, the little 40 gigawatt units were being manufactured locally. Oh, I should say in Sunderland, UK. So guess what? U.S. jobs, no mas. So those, the 62 and the 40 gigawatts, are now going to be made in the UK solely. Man, it's part of the new trade deal. So there's got to be so much of a vehicle made in a market to be able to be exported out. So yeah, so that's part of the new world that we're going to be living in. So just to let you know, and I think it's also one of these things that Nissan did that for a sake of making a more cost-effective vehicle and
5 seconds.
making more cost-effective materials. That's it. I'm done, son. What's up?
All right, I got mine. Next one. 2021 Nissan Altima and Sentra earned safety awards from the IIHS. If you're looking in the model for a Sentra Altima and you're looking for safety, obviously this is cars that are very well within the higher ranks of safety crash tests. Nissan has a bunch of mobility assists available in the vehicle. It says here, Advanced Nissan Intelligent Mobility segment. Intelligent all-wheel drive Pro Pilot Assist, Nissan Safety Shield 360 technologies, wide high beam assists, tons and tons of features that make these cars very, very safe. If you want to know more specifically about the Nissan Safety Shield 360, again, we'll add it to the link.
Uno.
Done. Boom.
All right. You got one last one, and we're gonna. I'm not gonna put a time on you, so we can talk about this.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Next one here. Okay, this is regarding. This was through numerous outlet sites regarding the 2022 Nissan 400Z. There was a patent filing images of the upcoming Z. Essentially saying that what you saw in the Nissan Z Proto was very much what you're going to get in the production model. Not very many changes. When Nissan really stuck to it, I think the response when the car had just been released, huge. People just can't wait for this car to come out. They love the way it looks, so there wasn't really much to really change. And so Nissan didn't make very many changes at that. They did add the door handles as part of the patent. You start seeing. They got
my door handles.
Oh yeah. What?
I said, that's all I asked for. I told him, I was like, guys, make me a cool door handle. So
cool door handle. Does it meet the miles
on the car? I don't know. We'll see. Well, if they got a Milo edition door handle, I'll be pretty excited.
It says here, very highly anticipated vehicle. Oh, they do say that from the back here, it'll also retain the retro taillights that were inspired to the 300ZX. I think a lot of people love those, so they're definitely keeping with it. It actually looks a little wider. I know one of the comments that we made, Miles, was to make that a little wider. I mean, at least here in this gray model, it looks pretty. I
like the fact that the lights trend almost like they wrapped around the back of the quarter section. Now, when this came out, obviously me and Mike we nitpicked the ish out of this
Yep.
image here, and we did a lot of like side to side comparisons, and we went in a lot of back talk on it. But go back up to that figure number twos, go up, and you can
Well,
see a lot of the detail with the katana blade that, of course, they've been talking about for a minute. It
right here.
carried
Yep.
all the way through. Some people were like, "Is it going to carry all the way through or not?" But
Hmm.
once you start blocking out sections that are traditional, like okay, let's black out where the door mirror is going to be. Let's black out where the B pillar section is that closes on the door. I mean, you could
Yep.
start to see the vehicle take form.
Yep.
I'm really interested on how that rear bumper section is going to come out. If they're going to offer, what the aftermarket's going to take for that. So when you start really looking into it and what's going to change it,
Yep.
man, I think it's going to be one of those platforms that just is going to be aces across the board with both sales and the performance industry. So I'm really curious. And I know there's guys on here that are going to flame me about this. I'm just not a road. I can't. I don't want to be in a roadster, if that makes sense. Like, I just hope it stays as a coupe. No 2+2, no roadster. Just be happy and content with what you got. Make it rock. Um, yeah, but they've got to change something on this prototype in some form or fashion. But what do you
Yes.
think, Mike?
I think it's pretty spot on. I mean, a lot of the responses that I was reading as the car was initially revealed, people are just going nuts for it. They love it. I think that the body lines are great. I think Nissan really listened to what the consumers wanted. They mentioned this car as being very, very heritage rich, which especially in the time when electronic cars or battery powered cars are making a this obviously this change in the industry. To have this car really go back to its roots and pay homage like that, it is a lot of fun to see. I do enjoy it. I almost call it sometimes. It's like this generation coming up is sort of like when your favorite band makes a greatest hits album. It's like
Like
it's just
Aerosmith's big ones, or
yeah, yeah.
it's like, are they done? Is that
Are they
it?
done? I mean, they're not done, but I mean, yeah. It's like I imagine the Z having an album cover and it says, right, we have your greatest hits, including triple gauges,
Yeah,
rear wheel drive.
nothing will
Yeah.
ever make you feel old as when one of your bands come up with the greatest hit album. You're just like, damn, I'm dying. And then you're like, I'm dying inside. It's like, well, no, it's like, but a new model has come out. They've
Yep.
definitely listened to the consumers. I can know that for a fact that they've listened to the consumers because we were part of those panels. You both and both of us were, and so
Yep.
we got firsthand. We were able to give our feedback,
Hmm.
whether that was taken or
Yep.
or utilized, who's to say? I mean, that happens in the cutting room floors. But
Yep.
but I have to say, man, I love the fact that at least they're listening to the consumers. They're listening to what's worked for us, what pays homage. And we've talked about this a million times before. We're not saying anything we haven't said before, but
Hmm.
I'm liking everything. What I'm curious about is, okay, so this is what we get.
Hmm.
This is the new norm. Call it the end of 2021, maybe, if I'm being super optimistic,
Yep.
or the beginning of 2022. Right, it comes out, hits the floor running. But let's talk about what else is going to be out there. What's a Nismo model going to do? How's it going to improve on this?
It's true, man. I know Nismo models are typically known for their suspension, the rigidness, the aerodynamics. So I see a body kit happening of some sort, some different type of ground graphics, ground aerodynamics.
Yeah,
I think power, they're going to up the power. I mean, I think we mentioned before, if they use the engine that we think they're using, they'll probably do the 400 horsepower version of that engine, not the 300. I could see that happening. Um,
yeah,
Little upgrades with brakes, suspension, and aerodynamics.
yeah.
This commercial, by the way, this teaser just came out, I think, last week. You know how
Oh,
earlier we were talking about how the Z31 and the 280ZX aren't really listening? Look at there, right there.
I know. And for all the 280ZX and Z31 guys, I hear you. We hear you. We
Yeah.
understand that there's no love out there for you, but to also respect the 260, 280Z guys, get no love too.
Yeah, yeah.
The roadster guys don't get any love. The 2+2 guys will never get any love. You know,
Yep.
bastards. So
I will say though, this recent teaser did get me excited though to see. Although it is animated, it was cool to see all these cars kind of come together at one time the way they did it.
I'm
And
definitely interested in a model for my own sake. I haven't really. I've been keeping my options open. My dating options for a new vehicle, I've been keeping open, and I like
yeah,
it. I think they did a really good job with it. I like the fact that they did the backdrop on a serious like driving setup versus you know trying to do it more of putting a model next to it and
yep.
a couple holding a baby or something. It's just like okay, get it. You know what I mean? Like it's just pitched to the right market, and it's a sports car. Don't make apologies for being a sports car.
Yep.
For Christ's sakes, you're one of the last businesses that are sticking with the standard transmission when everybody's
Yep.
walking away from it. You had the guts to do that. And Nissan, I'm giving you points back, even though you messed me up on the Star Wars Rogue. I'm gonna give you these points back because you did a good job with this new Z. So kudos to you.
Right, right. We do have some comments here. We want to go ahead and
Yeah, yeah. Let's go back.
share here. Greatest hits. Oh my God, from Ion. They said the future 400Z should have a Mandalorian edition from James.
Joshua had a good one. Joshua Chrome said when I was talking about the Nissan Rogue, he goes, "That looks like something you can add to a base model for less than $50 on Etsy." And he probably hit it nail on the head. Damn good point, man. So yeah,
Yep. Yep.
they made a Pirates of the Caribbean Juke, the Black Pro. No, you're a
No,
liar. You're a liar, Ferguson. If they did, you know more than I do. And you need to have your own show. So
we need a stamp of a nerd stamp if you.
he would get a
It's
nerd
good,
stamp.
but you
I
wear it
would
with
send
pride.
him this shirt if he.
Yeah.
I would send him your shirt and my shirt if he got that. Right.
Taking everybody's shirts.
Taking
Um,
everybody's shirts. I'm taking skins. All
I,
right.
I I think this segment definitely went over just a little bit, so we'll jump into
Well,
the next
yeah,
one.
yeah. We're getting on 46 minutes. All right. Let's do.
Before we do, Miles, how are you doing on that drink?
I'm doing okay. I'm getting to the bottom of the. This is where all the manness is. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Oh wow. What do you got for me? You sounds like you got something fun.
I'm doing okay. I'm going to go ahead and just do a little bit of a fill up here.
You gonna top
I
off?
will. I am topping off. Yes, sir.
Ooh yeah.
Uh, just
Smell the
making sure
mud.
we're still
Smells
just
like a
taking
gym bathroom.
gym
Mm,
bathroom.
yeah.
Just making sure, man. I'm just taking care of my guest. Make sure he's good on his birthday.
Yeah. Good stuff. All right. Moving on. All
All
right.
right, let's move on here. Okay, so
Motorsports.
next segment we have is a motorsports updates. Let's do it. Boom, boom, right there.
Boom, boom.
I'll share my screen here for what I have. Miles, I didn't tell you about this. I just added this update in motorsports with Nissan and the IMSA 24 Hours of Rolex, which is actually happening this weekend.
Really?
24 hours at Daytona. You don't hear anything about how is Nissan related to that, and I found something, and I think you might like it. So let me go ahead and share my screen again. We got these here. Boom. Okay. There are multiple teams entered in the 24 hours Rolex at Daytona this weekend that are actually using Nissan power plants.
Go on.
Don't know if you knew this. From the IMSA.com site, I can literally go to the entry list. This is their site here, right? If you go to the entry list, there are multiple teams. What you want to look for, though, is the LMP3 category.
So is that the power plant? Is that the requirements? They're all using a Nissan power plant? Hold on.
Yeah. Can you see what I got there? I'm going to zoom in just a little bit.
All right. Hit me.
Boom. Okay. So you've got multiple car types here with this engine. The engine says VK. Obviously, there is an engine code Nissan VK V8. Yeah, you know about
56,
the VK, Miles.
VK56. That is a underrated engine that has been used around Australia and all through Europe for the longest time, and I cannot talk about it enough. That is a power plant that puts out some power, especially what are the my God, that whole the V8 series that they were doing that they ran the Jack Daniels.
Not the
Long,
Continental Series or
no, yeah, somebody's gonna
Bathurst.
kill me and beat me up on it, but yeah, they just stout's
So
getting. But for real, it was they've been using that power plant for the longest time with great success stories coming from it. So I'm really excited that you found that. I'm happy that
yeah,
we're starting to see it incorporated here statewide.
yep. So it's really, really cool. So if you are watching the Daytona 24-hour Rolex, this makes me want to go ahead and just watch it though. The LMP3 class has 7 entries. Every entry is a Nissan engine, so the Nissan V8. Which is really weird to me though. I start to wonder. So if you see here, the engine says VK, right? Well, what's VK? Well, we know that because we're nerds. But from the unassuming eye, typically what's used in this segment, I'm going to scroll up for a second. You see the power plants. You get the Cadillacs, the Acura, the Mazdas. Maybe not Gibson though, but if I scroll down, it goes to VK. So it makes me think that maybe these are independent teams. This is not a Nissan supported effort, but private teams that are using the Nissan engine.
Using the power
So,
plant. I wonder if
yep,
they're like taking power plants with the VK from other models. I don't know. I can't see that.
perhaps. Yep. So I did.
I'm not that much of a nerd for the VK, but I wonder if somebody out there can clarify that for me. Huh.
Yep. I do see 2 different models, car types. You have the Liger JSP 320. I have a picture of it, and I'll share that with you. This
I
is
drove a Liger. I was like, oh man,
it's an intimidating looking car though,
a Tiger.
and you do see it right here. Nissan VK 56. If I can zoom in just a little bit,
Oh,
boom. Nissan VK 56, 460 horsepower, 5.6 liter, and
yeah, it's a
that's
Nissan VK.
that, that's a Meeson looking car though. That's a pretty
That is
intimidating looking car
a
though.
planter. That is not going anywhere. God.
So I definitely want to give credit to these teams that are using the Nissan power plant.
Wow.
Nissan, if you're listening, I mean, I know maybe the motorsports budget isn't as grand as it used to be, or maybe in the future it will, but I definitely want to say, hey, definitely, if these teams, the winner is going to have the winner of the LMP3 class is going to be a Nissan. So hey, we won already. Woo!
Wait, I was gonna ask, have they put out a schedule yet for this?
The schedule for
The Rolex? I wonder if it's
Rolex.
coming anywhere that we can touch this.
Yes, it is
We're
this
happy to be in
weekend.
Texas. Maybe we're in Coda, but that's this weekend. Oh, it's
For
never
this
mind.
one here, yes. So it's happening on Saturday. The 24 hours. This one starts at 3:40 p.m. this Saturday,
Okay.
and it will obviously go until 3:40 p.m. of Sunday. Where you can find it is NBC Sports. I think you have NBC Sports Network, IMSA TV. These
TV.
are some of the channels that you see here that will actually have that race for you.
The
So
newly started IMSA TV. That just
yeah,
came out.
that's actually pretty neat. Right?
No, it's
So
cool. Awesome.
again, that's just a motorsports update with IMSA. If people are watching it already, hey, there's another reason to watch it. So
Cool.
I have one other area that I want to share with motorsports is regarding Formula E. Miles, obviously, their last season, we went ahead and we promoted it. For the 2021 season will be taking place beginning February 25th. So we're just under a month away from the Formula E 2021 season. Looking here, so was that 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 races that span between February and late July. So
Okay.
we'll be taking. I'll be definitely watching more of this. We still have the same team with the Nissan and the EDAMS team. Um, we'll
It's been slowly crawling in popularity. Like they're clawing their way up, and it's just like anything else. You have to build your fan base, right? F1 did this early on. When they first got started with it, and then all of a sudden they skyrocketed in popularity. So I can't see why this wouldn't be a similar scenario. I really think we're probably going to see the popularity rise by the end of this season or the next. I think what the Formula E season really needs
yep.
is an identifiable rivalry. They need somebody to kind of cheer for, And I think Formula
Okay.
E is so new that it hasn't developed that just yet. You know, you need that.
Everybody's been a gentleman with each other. They say, "Hey, we're just glad to be here."
Somebody
You
needs to
got to get
insult
some.
somebody. Somebody needs to sleep with somebody's wife. Somebody needs to, somebody needs to get a little dirty out there. I mean, and I'm going to say it. I'm just going
I
to say
like
it.
that.
So
Yeah, that's good. No, no, I think that's true, man. You start getting into some rivalries, let them start to happen and build and grow that bad blood. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And it's like watching your favorite football teams come around. You know, they have history, and you're like, man, I really hope they stick it to them this year, or whatever the case may be.
how it
So
is.
that'll definitely be another aspect that will make Formula E more exciting as it grows.
Yep.
Absolutely. So
That's it.
that's motorsports from me. Uh,
Went back alley chat. It's about right.
Next segment is back alley
Oh,
chat.
actually,
Miles.
before we go into that, I kind of want to talk about, and we've talked about this before, and I'll make it really quick. But
Mm-hmm.
we've talked about this series before. But I just want to talk about growing in popularity. I wanted to talk about this Centra Cup that came through. Now, you and I knew this as the Micro Cup that we talked about last year. You know,
Yep.
it got a lot of popularity, and then in Canada, and it was a crazy amount of teams packed in a short amount of time, and it just all of a sudden gained a lot of popularity. But then Nissan says, "Hey, let's drop the bomb on this," and they start making a Sentra Cup. Somebody created it.
Yeah.
Nissan's on board with this now, and I've been getting, and I have bots that kind of crawl and give me data for Nissan information all over,
Yeah.
and I've been getting hit and hit and hit and hit after this, but it's all come back to this Nissan Sentra Cup that's happening in Canada, and I'm really really excited about it. It's going to launch out in May of 2021,
May
and
of
it's
2021. Okay.
May of 2021 is when we're going to start seeing it. So I don't have the dates just yet. If I get anything, I'll definitely let you guys know. But
Yep.
I mean, we've been seeing a lot of cool stuff come from it. I mean, Nissan's definitely put some marketing behind it. I've messaged the Nissan marketing team about it for Canada. I haven't got anything back. Hopefully, one of these days they'll reach out to us, so we can kind of talk about it. But I mean, look,
Yeah.
talk about a step up, in a cup
Oh yeah.
class.
I think the last time we talked about it, we were comparing power output between the Nissan Micra. That's a model of vehicle that we don't have here in in the United States, but it is in Canada. The power range was I think 100 horsepower, give or take.
Yeah.
The Sentra is closer to 200 horsepower, so you're getting that bump in power, that bump in excitement. Um, it's standard transmission. It definitely is an upgrade. And the cool part is that they're still not getting rid of the Micra. The Micra is still in the race, but they're racing with the Sentra. So you got two separate classes of racing at the same time. So that adds a whole level of complexity, and it's a lot of excitement. And I'm really excited to see that too. So I'm glad you brought it up.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm really willing. Actually, I kind of want to see this. And I don't mean like I want to see it like on TV. I kind of want to go. I kind of want to go.
Yeah.
I'm thinking we need to make sure that you can leave the country, and we'll definitely go and try this and check this out, man. I just think it's something cool that we at least tried, because if heaven forbid, they only do it the 1 year and we never get to see it again, because it happens. Nissan does that where they get a little upset and they take their ball and go home, and then
That's true.
we're stuck. So I say you
Hmm.
work on your Canadian speak, and then we get our passports together,
Yeah.
and let's try to make that happen
And
in May.
we have a
Oh,
few friends in Canada too. I'm sure if we try to make a thing with it where they can meet us there, they'll definitely be able to translate for us. No, I'm just joking.
translates. I don't really speak their
Uh,
English, but yeah.
just playing, of course. We say it with love. So yes, 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 yes.
But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to kind of talk about that because I'm really proud that the series finally is starting to get some PR. At least I see it on the internets, and so yeah, just
Absolutely.
something cool. So kudos to that team that's putting on the marketing for that Nissan Sentra, and Nissan, please continue to support that. That's been the only cool guiding piece of light that I've seen in 2020.
Yeah.
Other than the Z prototype coming out here soon.
It,
So
it's sort of the again, I mean, not to expand on it for just a second though, but it is one of the more affordable outlets of racing that you can actually get into as a person from the grassroots level too. So I love seeing that. If you really have anyone has a chance to actually have an entry in this race too and become someone from it, So yeah, no, I think we need to definitely set our calendars, watch our TV, and if we can, plan a flight to go watch one of these things.
yeah, we'll sneak into the country, sneak out. It's all right.
Yeah, it shouldn't be that hard.
It's okay.
You have a boat, Lake Erie's right there, I think.
They built a wall yet around Canada?
No, I don't think so. Not yet. No,
I'm pretty sure they're not going to pay for it. Moving on. We're going to leave it alone. Leave it alone.
Moving on.
All right.
Moving on. Moving on.
Moving on. Let's not touch it. All right.
Okay.
So we got to talk about back alley chat.
Yes, it's your birthday, Miles. I figured it's your. You have the honors of picking the topic of conversation tonight.
Well, we're going to beat this. We've beaten this horse to death, but it's still a subject matter that comes up all the time, and it talks about, your purist versus your, let's call it, your self-innovators, those guys that are out there kind of pushing pushing the application to what it can do. Now we're going to talk a little bit about engine swaps, and I know we've done this till we're blue in the face. We talked about this before, but let's talk about it. Innovators versus purist. What do you got for engine swaps? The question: what's the unwritten rule about engine swaps? I'll let you take the purist route because I know you're more of a purist than I am.
I think the answer behind the unwritten rule of engine swaps, right? The unwritten book of the road says that engine swaps.
Book of the road.
I think in many cases engine swaps are personal. When it comes to the purists and Nissan, that's what we are, right? You're going to want to stay within the family. If you're going to do a swap, it stays in the Nissan family or the Infiniti family. It's all one family, right? So if you're thinking of a swap, you stay in the family, and I think from a purist standpoint, you are staying loyal still to the brand. That's if you're being a purist. I also think is that the owner, because you can do whatever you want with a car, The owner has got to want to stay loyal to the car, and I think what makes people loyal to a car or to a brand, I think specifically to a car, and I'll explain why in a second here. If you're going to do a swap to a car and you want to be a purist, typically you're a purist because you love that car specifically, that model, that generation specifically. It's your baby. It's your true love. You don't want anything to change or any major changes to happen to that car because it's so personal to you. I'll give you this is my example. 300ZX, I could never swap it with anything other than Nissan. Honestly, I'll probably just keep the original motor with it. But I'll give you an example. I also own a 350Z, and I would swap that thing in a heartbeat. And yeah, it's true. And I asked myself, why? Why these are just two generations back to back. Why am I so passionate about one car and not the other? And I really think it's that personal connection with that certain generation. It's how you feel. It's your history with the car. Maybe it was how you were introduced to that car that's so sentimental and personal that really guides these unwritten rules of what you think is a purist or an innovative move with an engine swap. Is that the long way around, or is that the short answer?
No, I can see that. I mean, to me, it's like, coming from your perspective, because I can see it from the purist perspective too as well. I mean, you can go a number of different ways here, but I mean, you've also have a scarcity of a model.
Yeah.
If am I paying homage to a very scarce model or a rare vehicle that you don't see much on the road versus I guess the availability to get it done, 350Z model. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love 350Zs. They're great cars, but for let's wind the clock back here 6 years ago, maybe 7 years ago before the the drift tax really started killing those cars, and
Yep.
all these tuners were taking them, and everybody was mashing them up and beating the hell out of them because you could buy them for 5, 6, 7 grand
Okay.
and just go from there. And then people were blowing motors and they were sticking things into them just to keep them going. And let's call it what it is. I mean, we're not seeing that now. We're not identifying that now, but hot rodders did the same thing. That's how
Yeah.
hot rodding started. It's like you would blow your mom's, you know, engine in her car, and then you had to get something else to stick in there. And they were doing this in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. People were doing that
Hmm.
all the time.
Yeah.
Then sleepers came around. Then we're starting to put different labels on things. But yeah, but I mean, getting back to it, a 300ZX, let's call it what it is. It's a tight. You're trying to
Engine bay.
fit a 12-inch foot into a 9-inch shoe. I mean, you know what I mean? Let's call it what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you drop a 10 millimeter bolt on the top of that thing, it's still there looking at you,
It ain't touching the ground.
knocking you.
Yeah.
It ain't touching the ground. But let's talk about a Datsun 240Z. You drop a bolt down there, it's going to hit the floor and it's going to roll off into the driveway. But I mean, that's the way that those things are. But now you're talking about purity. Now you got Datsun 240Z owners, for an example. They're slopping RB26s and SR20s into them, and people are kind
Yeah.
of like turning up their nose a little bit. And it's like some swaps are respected, some swaps aren't. The V8,
Hmm.
and you know it's hard to say, but then you get people are like, it's my car, who cares what you think, because it's my car. But then other people are like, you have to keep it pure and true, because quite
Hmm.
honestly, there's not enough good examples on the road for that. Now,
Yeah.
I used to think like that for the longest time, but then it's all about, if you're going to pull up a swap, how well can you get it done?
The
Now, and
cleanliness of
that's
it, is that what you
now,
mean? As
yeah,
far
and
as you don't want the, yeah.
you're on your soapbox of a purist. I'm on the soapbox of an innovator,
Okay.
which is weird because I don't do a lot of I do innovate swaps, but I usually keep a model specific. I keep a model pure. That's kind of
Okay.
where I draw the line. But I have been falling in love with a new site here as of recently, and I kind of
Okay.
wanted to break it off to you, which sounds weird, but I want to show you about it. And
Okay.
it was of all things, it's the Engine Swap Depot, and it's a crap website as far as a build the way it is. But I mean, the content of it, it's pretty darn amazing. So different things in here. A lot of 2JZ swaps, of course you will, because that's the popularity right now. But I mean, you've got stuff like this popping off.
Hmm.
You've got a Nissan Safiro, which we
Ooh.
never had in our model, and they're sticking VR38 DETTs. They're sticking those in the SR20s right now. I mean, it's
Yeah.
starting to get pretty popular, and I have to say, as you scroll through websites like this, and you scroll through old school websites like Hybrid Z, and they would make some amazing options happen. I mean,
Hmm.
so it just depends what you want to get into
Yeah.
and what you want to do. But the big thing is, if you can pull it off, can you pull it off to a point that you're not going to pay homage, but can you do it with taste?
With taste, and I think a presentable level. Uh, Mentioning, like, obviously so many things are happening and changing when you do an engine swap. Is the wiring harness tucked and nicely kept, or do you see splices everywhere? Is
I mean, look at this, for Christ's sakes. A 1969 Nissan Gloria with a supercharged VK56. You want to talk about a tire melter? I mean, Jesus Christ.
yeah, but
Yeah, I mean,
the
come on.
cleanliness of the bay, though. Yeah, scroll down a little bit
Oh,
more, and
good Lord.
you can
Hold on.
see that engine bay and how clean it looks, and it really has to do with the craftsmanship of the build. That
Let me
is a
look at
big,
this.
big factor.
So somebody put the work in. I
Very
mean,
well.
this is Riddler type
Putting
work.
in the work. Yep.
I mean, look at that.
Oh yeah.
That's just sex. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And when's the last time you've seen a clean Gloria? It's a rarity. You probably been. It hasn't been. First off, it's a rarity of a vehicle. Then
Yeah.
it's a build that's pulled off with none other than just
Yep.
masterpiece quality. I mean, it's a damn good job.
Yep. I got a question for you.
What you got?
You mentioned earlier scarcity.
Hmm.
Now, what do you mean by that? Do you mean because a car is so rare that you should modify it, or so rare that you shouldn't modify it?
I think you're answering your own question there. So let's talk about. To me, when I say scarcity, I don't mean like, man, I haven't seen one of those in a long time. If I don't see it on the road, when I'm driving from time to time, then
Yep.
that's scarcity.
Okay.
When's the last time you saw a really clean, I don't know, like a patrol, a Nissan
Yeah.
Patrol. When's the last time you seen a clean patrol like on the road?
Yeah.
Or a Figaro, like one of those. But I mean, the whole thing about it is like that guy pulled it off and it's clean. But now when it comes to swap, it's a whole other thing. If you decided to dive and delve into a swap, you got to make sure that you did it and with taste. Or if you did it to make sure that if it's a theme, great.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with theme cars, but you got to make sure that the theme is either understated and it's done with taste. That's all I'm gonna I'll
With
leave it at
taste.
that.
Okay.
So
I have a mention here. This is the argument from a purist too when it comes to scarcity. And I agree with you mean. There are levels of scarcity. If you don't see it on the free very often and you see one of those cars eventually and it has this swap, cool. Um, you were talking about special edition cars earlier, right?
mhm.
And when I think of, referring back to that, when you have special edition cars and you are talking about engine swaps, I think as a purist, I draw the line. And I'll explain why. I've seen Nismo edition 350s and 370s. They're a special edition on its own that I think is respected. It has, as an OEM, features that are very respectable already, right? I had a buddy of mine who took a 370 Nismo and did a full blown swap, a V8 into a Nismo edition 370. And I begin to think there are so few of these already, and you paid a premium to own it already, and then you ruined everything that was special about it as a purist. Now to them, it's good stuff on top of good stuff. It's the better than better. But as a purist, I'm thinking if you're going to modify, get a base model or get a certain trim level that is not so sought after. Keep in this case, save the Nismos. Like, don't butcher Nismos, man.
What's
Uh,
crazy is when
yeah.
when the 350Z first came out. I mean, within the first 2 years, where was I at? I was at a ZCon in Long Beach, and there was a 350Z there. This is back when Nissan was still headquarters out of Long Beach.
Okay.
It was like the last days. They were shutting down the doors and everything else. They didn't have much left in the Nissan headquarters in Long Beach. So they had a really good, I mean, amazing car show that was just outside of there. And there was a 350Z that was parked there on the side, and ultimately there was an SR20 that was stuffed into it. And it was kind of weird to see an SR20 stuffed into a 350Z back then.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, I don't know how to feel about it, and I covered it in an article. This is back when I was still writing, and we started talking about it. And he goes, man, he goes, I drift, and he goes, quite honestly, he goes, I was drifting. That pan sits pretty low for the 350Z, and I tagged it. Ended up destroying the engine, and I needed to get back into competition, so I had an SR that was sitting there, and we just
Yep.
made it happen. A couple of late nights, and we got it
Yep.
done. And it was like, it's weird. It's like if the guy gives you an excuse, you almost give him a pass. And
Yeah.
but
Okay.
that was a means to get a vehicle back on the road. So it's like, I don't know. It's like sometimes I feel about it, but when
It.
I hear the story, I let it pass. So,
Yeah.
going back to the scenario of purist versus innovators, it's I'm kind of cool with it. And to me, my final thought process on this, I kind of let everything go as long as it's within the same family. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like
That's
when you, yeah,
Yeah, no, that makes sense too. Same family seems to be a pretty common line that you cross it or you don't. I mean, there are subsets. There are lesser offenses to be made. When it comes to engine swaps. I think what you mentioned though too, it's a matter of fate in some cases. Like you said, you'll meet those enthusiasts and go, well, I just so happen to have this engine sitting with this car. And we just made it happen. I get that, and that sometimes that's how you make magic. It's just how it works. I do want to
Speaking of
wait.
that, look at this model. I mean,
Okay.
that's a 280ZX. I haven't seen anything this clean in a really long time. Where they actually threw a 25, an RB25 into it. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's pretty clean. I haven't seen anything like that. I see that swap a lot in Japan. Anyway, I'm nerding out, but yeah,
It's all good. I do have one last comment to make
yeah, sure. What do you got?
about this, which is when it comes to engine swap. And this is actually a pretty good question, though. With every engine swap I've seen has been taking a certain vehicle and putting an engine that into it that is typically newer than the car you're putting it in. You're doing an upgrade. You're taking a 370 engine, putting it into a 350, or a 350 engine, putting it into a 300, right? But you don't see, very rarely do you ever see someone go the opposite direction. And
Go something
I,
more antiquated. Yeah,
well, I'll give you an
carbureted.
idea. Yeah,
I
exactly.
took a fuel injection and I threw it into carbureted. Yeah,
You can take a carbureted L28 Datsun motor and put it into a 350Z. Like,
yeah.
so that's a rule. That's what I'm talking about. So we were talking about the unwritten rules. Like, I mean, it's not that you can't do it, but most commonly when you are doing an engine swap, it's a matter of
Motorsports does
being
it. I mean,
faster. Being
motorsports
yeah.
did it for specs. So, like, if like
Hmm.
say for instance, like the spec cars for the Z32 way back in the day, you could only run a carbureted engine. So these guys were sticking
Mm.
L28, triple carbs into these. I mean, we're talking like pretty much gutted out Z32s with tube frames, and then they would just do the little SU fasteners and put all the panels on, and
Hmm.
that was it. You had the illusion of a Z32 car, but you were really running an L28, stroked out, car, bad boy, and yeah, I mean, but I mean that was out of necessity. But yeah, I mean it's a good point. Yeah, just a
Yeah.
lot of perspectives.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I'm glad we
So
took this time to
to really talk about
really
nothing.
talk about it.
Yeah, just
But
talk about everything people already know. All right.
before we continue, though, I do want to share a few comments from those that are with us.
Sure, sure.
We did mention, someone mentioned here, an RB and a Datsun Z. That's a classic move,
It's kind of sexy. Yeah,
obviously.
you can't really go wrong.
Looking good. We had here VQ boost all the Nissan Datsun Infinities. Got a big VQ fan there with James. I'm a fan of boost. I mean, I was thinking, especially with mine too. Mine is an '06, which had the rev up VQ35, and in the Z, it was only used for 1 year. So if that engine goes out, I am screwed. Try finding an engine that was only used for 1 year. You can find some Infinity, the G35s that
Like
have it,
the
which
260Z guys, or
yeah, but it
you,
makes the car a perfect candidate for an engine swap
because you have no options.
because my options are very limited. Yeah, yeah, to go the purest way. So you're kind of,
You're
I
like
wouldn't
those
say
poor
obligated.
bastards that have to buy a whole car just so you can strip out the engine. Like, yeah, I had to spend $3,000 to get a $600 engine. It's like Jesus Christ, and it's true. It's happening more and more. With different models, it's like you have to like when you get to a certain point when people are biting up cars like all these old like Datsuns and really rare Nissans. It's like you have to buy the whole damn car if you need like I don't know $400 worth of parts. So out of three, you make one. But
Yep,
it's
yep,
the way it goes. So
yep. So Joshua said here, no RB26 is a Mustang. So this isn't Tokyo Drift.
it's a
That's
Star
that's
Wars reference. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, sure. Ion mentioned Hybrid Z. Hybrid Z, the website's been around for a very, very long time. Has always been a go-to.
I've
Great
always been
stuff there.
impressed with that website. They run a really
Hybrid
good
Z
website.
forums,
Very,
absolutely. Uh,
very meat and potatoes. They don't mess
yep.
around. Very good job.
Orlando mentioned parts availability is a big factor with doing a swap. You want to do a part that in most engines you can see are very common and affordable. So the more available they are, usually the more affordable they are. I mean, unless you've got some unlimited budget and you're trying to put a rare engine into a rare car, you're really going for an engine that's affordable and available.
Yep.
And
All right.
well, that's a few. That's a few of them.
I think we're good. All right.
Yeah,
So we got to go over events and start to wrap up the night.
I
Events,
agree.
local events. What do we got going on?
All right, let me go ahead and change the spanner here. Boom, events. All right, so I do have one event to share with you guys regarding future 2021 events. I will share my screen. We are dealing with Branson Z Fest. They just announced registration is now open. For those who know geography, Branson, Missouri is where it's going to be happening. I will share my screen. Come on. There you go. Branson Z Fest. So, Branson, Missouri, this is happening on June 2nd through the 6th. Essentially, it's a 4-day event. The organizers of Branson Z Fest have been doing this for a very, very long time. Branson actually hosted the 2019 ZCon as well. So the team that they have is very, very experienced. They know how to put on a really good event, and it's happening again this year here in early June. So if you are looking for a road trip, or if you're in the Branson, Missouri area, go ahead and go to bransonzfest.org. Look at the registration, sign up in advance, sign up as soon as you can, and at the very least, sign up at the host hotel. Most of these bigger events, the first thing to go is the hotel. So book the hotel, even if you register a couple later. But book the hotel. That's probably the first thing that you want to do if you're even considering going. They do have a main hotel, and like most events, there are overflow hotels. Either way, you'll find a bed, I'm pretty sure. But this is definitely an event that you want to give a shot to give a chance. A quick rundown of events. Besides, you've got a typical opening dinner. There is extreme karting happening. We have guided cruises. There is karaoke and charity dinner. I do like karaoke is a very thing. I've seen a lot more karaoke happening actually with events. Did you do that in Japan, by the way, Miles? Did you ever do the karaoke?
I did, unfortunately. Yeah.
Woo.
Sure, it's out there on the internet. I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah. Branson Z Fest also has a drag strip night. There is a car show, obviously, closing ceremony, a lot of socializing, both as part of the event and like most events, if you have your own crowd of guys, you go out and typically maybe spend a night doing something else outside of the event. So it's a really good time, though. I've heard a lot of great things. I haven't been, unfortunately, though, but I've heard a lot of great things. And soon enough, man, Miles, again, put that on our list. We've got a few events to make it. Branson Z Fest is one of them.
Branson
Z Fest.
Who has the better beer?
What do you think? Yeah, what's Canadian beer like? I don't know.
All right. I don't know if the Branson boys start calling us and start talking up their beer, then maybe we'll have to make that versus the Central Cup. I don't know. We'll figure it out as we go forth. So,
Gotcha.
What else we got going on? ZCon is coming up, right?
Yes. So there are two other events, and I know we mentioned them previously. ZCon, I don't have the dates on me. I believe it's in August.
Yeah, Colorado, just to let you know, they did drop the dates. We've been talking about it. I don't want to make it blue in the face type of thing, but we've been talking a lot. We've obviously are very big promoters of the ZCon, but just to let you know, they did open up, from what I remember, they opened up registration here recently. So you may want to look into it, get into your hotels. The hotel's at the top of that mountain, just to let you know. It's in an eagle's nest up there. I'm just kidding. I totally got it wrong. But you got 200 days till ZCon's kicking off this year.
ZCon is a week-long event, and it begins August 16th of this year. So I know that seems like a distance, some time away, but regardless, honestly, it comes up very, very fast. And right now, there is actually an early bird special between now and I believe March. So if you are thinking about going, like I said earlier, reserve with the host hotel right away. And then you also have the registration. If you register before, I believe, March or mid-March, you do have an early bird discount. I believe it's like 10% off. And these registrations, with an event this caliber, you've got a lot of special guests, people flying over. This is all about that experience. So you're going to
we're definitely going to go this year. I mean, we've been working on our cars to get to this point. This will be our event, one of our premier events to be there this year. So you and I are going to be probably sleeping out of my property the night before we have to make the drive out to Colorado Springs. So we're going to be driving, maybe crashing on the property.
Okay.
6 hours into Colorado Springs. We've done that drive before.
Yeah.
So
Sleeping bags on your property
yeah, sure, why not?
under the
That's fine.
stars.
Under the stars, all Brokeback Mountain style. We'll make it happen. All right.
Oh God, don't. Ugh, yeah.
Got a problem
But
with
no,
that? What's going on?
Z-Cons have a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to the road trip personally.
Why wouldn't
That
you? Because
area.
it's amazing. We have a good time. We have a fun time. That's the best part about road trips is being with your friends and just getting into trouble and doing weird, funny, quirky stuff on the road. That's the best part of road trips. All right,
It
moving on.
really
I'm
is.
not going to talk about it
Moving
anymore.
on. So this is the tail end of the show. Here we have Miles. It is your birthday. I went ahead
Smith.
and give. I sent you something, and I told you do not open it until now. And if you've got it near you, man, I really want to share with you. There it is. It's in your hand. Okay. Um, if you want to go ahead and open up and let me know what you think. And for those who are watching, again, feel free to wish Miles happy birthday. Let's.
Which end do I open?
So, what do
All
you
right.
think, man? What do you think? I mean, yeah, is
What
it
do I
open?
think's in here?
I don't know. I think you'll like it, though.
You think I'll like it?
We'll talk about it here in a minute.
It's definitely going to be a poster. All right, of some sort. A
Mm-hmm.
picture. Let's see if it's going to be embarrassing or not. All right. Whoa, that's pretty cool.
It's plastic. Woo!
It's plastique. Oh man. Oh, hold on. Oh, let me open it up. Be gentle. All right. And I slipped off the protective cover. Now it's
Yeah.
flesh on flesh. All right. Let me see
Open
here.
it up.
I don't know what it is.
What do you?
Let me see.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, Delta Wing. Hells
Yeah.
yeah. Dude, how'd you pull this off?
So
Good job.
well, I know. So we did an episode on the Delta Wing a while
And I'm
back,
a
right?
huge fan of the Delta Wing. Yeah.
And because you brought it up, because yes, you mentioned that you were a fan
Oh,
of the
hell
Delta
yeah,
Wing.
dude.
So doing some searching here, and it was actually through Etsy that had this. But
Really?
yeah. So the crazy part, this is a signed copy. The
Yeah.
artist is actually a motorsports artist. His name is Roger Warwick, and he actually commissioned this art. I think back in 2012, 2013.
Nice.
Yeah.
This is, dude, I love this. This is the best picture I've ever seen of the Delta Wing.
Isn't it
In
great? I mean,
in our perspective, I think it's great.
it's got the canvas on, or sorry, the I think it's an inkjet prints. I think it's like a general size. I have a picture frame coming. I'm not cheap, man. I'm gonna get you the picture frame as well. I didn't want to send you the picture frame first and give it away. So
Oh no, it's fine. This is awesome, dude. You know what's crazy is somebody else sent me something. Dude, this is amazing. Dude, thank you, by the way. This is
not a
awesome.
problem.
Dude,
I,
I like that. I love the Delta Wing. I think it's super cool, man. This made my day, man. That's awesome, dude. That's awesome.
cool. I'm glad you
Really
think
like
so, man. Again,
somebody.
yeah,
Yeah, sent
yeah.
me something else too as well. A fan of all things, out of that we have out of
Yeah.
Canada.
No way.
Yeah, for real. Somebody I met, and apparently they were just like a huge out of Canada. So they're a Paul Newman fanatic, and I was like, oh yeah, we talk about him on the show, and it was just somebody I knew from back in the day. But they sent me this.
No.
Yeah, but the big thing about it is it was like, okay, cool, but they sent me
It's signed.
it's signed.
You you son of a bitch.
Yeah, I know, but I couldn't get the frame. I couldn't get the frame. I just got this, but
Get the frame.
yeah, she sent it to me, and she was like, "Yeah." She goes, "I got this," and he goes, "I knew you would dig it." And she goes, "We've had it at
Wow,
the house forever."
that is
She's a
awesome, man.
she's a Paul Newman fan, and she was like, "Oh, cool." And yeah,
And
dude. I mean, this came the other day. I had no idea, and I was just like, "Oh man, that's awesome." She goes, "Yeah, happy birthday." She goes, "I was cleaning out my closet." I was just like, "I thought about you for your birthday." I was like, I will gladly take anything
wow.
that you have like that. That's awesome. So I try to spread the wealth as well. So whenever I have cool stuff that's signed, and I have duplicates or triples of stuff. You and I do this both, where we give it out to local guys, or if there's somebody that we know that likes that stuff, we do that all the time. So let us know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Um, Yeah, but dude, yeah, that Delta Wing picture, dude, that's the
Yeah.
best.
I
Good
figured
job.
you had a lot of fun. I know, just like what's behind you now, you have some sort of poster or art behind you. I was like, well, this is just another one that you can have and hang on your wall. And
It'll go into the man cave one of these days. So,
there you go. Yeah, 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 yeah. Back to the
well,
man cave,
thanks,
man. So
man. I
yeah, happy
appreciate it.
birthday, Miles. I hope you had a great one with you and your family. And I think we still need to do some carts, man. I know in the past for your birthday, we would go out
We
and race.
always race carts. We always race carts. But
We definitely
yeah,
need to
we
make
didn't do it
some time.
this year because of COVID. I wanted to
Yeah.
make sure everybody was safe, and but we'll do something here pretty soon. We'll do a delayed thing, or maybe we'll do one for your birthday by the time COVID frees up here soon. So maybe,
Hopefully. That'd be
hopefully.
fun. I'll definitely make some time for it. I mean, I'm due to go ahead and go out and have some fun with some go karts, man. It's
Well, we're
always a good
coming up
time.
on time. We're definitely over by a
Yes,
lot.
yes, we
But
are.
hey, screw it. We had a good time today. Anything else we got to go over today?
No, not at all. I do want to say that though, for those of you listening and watching, of course, please like, follow, subscribe to the Nissan Nerd Podcast. We are on all major podcast networks, the
Mhm.
audio versions. And then if you want to see video versions, of course, they are here on Facebook Live. But I also do want to promote the brand new Nissan Nerd YouTube channel. And so we do have that Nissan Nerd channel. These broadcasts that you see, like this one, and past broadcasts will be saved here on the Nissan Nerds channel. Yeah. So
So
if you're trying to share it with friends or even just want to you can't find it on Facebook, these are cataloged by dates, so you can go ahead and just watch at your leisure. And looks like we got one subscriber right now. Woo! I think it's myself actually,
I
but
think it's myself actually. But
but we're starting. We're growing. It's a brand new site. So for those who are YouTube and you have an account there, subscribe to the Nissan Nerd Podcast. Wanted to share that with you.
yeah.
And then last thing is that you want to share some feedback with us on future contents, or if you have any comments for us, go ahead and check out Nissan Nerd info at nissannerd.com. You can find us directly, and then you do also have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We have messages there. Find us, message us. These are just a number of ways, many, many different ways for you to be able to reach out to us. And this is really something just like the show. It's meant to be interactive. We're really looking for everybody's feedback that we could use and make a better show out of it.
Yeah. And then let us know also, we are at the point now where we're going to be looking for new equipment, updates, and everything. So we are looking for sponsors here in the next upcoming episode. So if you own a business or you want us to advertise your business here on the show, we will do it. We're very cost effective. We're not about the money, but we're mostly about keeping the community strong. And we really want to get your business out there. If you're interested in it, message us again at info, and we'll definitely go from there. But yeah, Mike, I think I've got everything that I wanted to talk about today. We went a little long. I appreciate you staying with me. Thanks again for the happy birthday wishes. Those were
You're welcome.
awesome. So thanks again for everybody for subscribing with us. Sorry we went a little long into your nap times, but we've got a couple new episodes that'll be coming up. We have a really good episode with Mad Mike that
Yep.
we just had wrapped up here and is now in the can. We just got to edit it, and then we've got some other live episodes, maybe with some people coming on as guests here in the future. But thank you again for everybody for your continued support as we carry into 2021, and we love you guys all, and thank you again for your support.
Very much so, Miles. Miles, to you, happy birthday. Ganpai. Where's your drink at, buddy?
Bye.
Ganpai. Clink.
Just there's all gone last year. Yeah. All right.
There it is.
That's it. That's it.
Thanks, everybody.
All
We'll
right.
see
Stay
you
strong, homies. Stay strong.
next time.
Next time.